Hey y'all, I have an edible and medicinal tree to introduce to y'all before it gets dark. Y'all have probably actually seen this when you've been out and about on your walks. You've seen these strange little green fruits on the ground. This is black walnut, and it's a great medicinal and edible to get to know, especially this time of year, as a lot of our aerial plants are limited as it gets colder. So when you're out and you find these, of course, it's a good idea to get positive ID from the tree itself and check out the bark. We can do that. There's enough light to do so. Yeah, maybe. There we go. This is the sun side. So the bark is going to be pretty deeply indented. It's going to be quite rough in these vertical grooves. So of course, if there are leaves on the tree, that's going to be a good thing to look at. There are not really many leaves up here, but still, if you know what to look for, you could positively identify this by the leaves as well. I would say look up towards the very top center of the screen to get an idea of what I'm talking about. The leaves are compound, which means that they are made up of several small leaflets. You can see these leaflets. They are oval shaped and they're arranged oppositely across from each other on the entire larger leaf structure itself. You can also see some more of those black walnuts hanging on towards the middle of the screen and those end of those branches. So if you do find these, and they have very characteristic smell, and you check out the bark of the tree, you're going to be in pretty good shape for positive ID of this plant. So how do you use these? I primarily use these medicinally, but regardless, you're going to go kind of through the same process when you're finding these and picking up the ones that are good, going to be good to use. So you want to get the green ones, not the black ones. Those are going to be too far gone. And you're going to want to find green ones that are soft enough for you to be able to squeeze and make, indentations with your fingers. So the really hard ones, those are going to be impossible to get the husk off and just going to give you a pain in the butt. So look for ones that you can indent with your fingers and squeeze and make a mark. Medicinally, I use the husk of this. It is a really powerful antimicrobial and antifungal, so it's going to be locally acting. I extract the husk in alcohol. It's called a tincture. There's quite simple folk methods of making tinctures, or you can do it in a much more strategic way, and I'm teaching classes on that if y'all want to learn that kind of stuff. But you're going to extract this in alcohol, and then you would use it internally for gut infections, parasitic infections. I've had Giardia twice. This is something that I've used for that to help myself recover. Gut dysbiosis, bacteria overgrowth like SIBO, a small intestinal bacteria overgrowth, which is quite common, Candida, which is not as common but is blamed for a lot of issues. If it is legit, this is a great thing to use for it. Because it is a local acting antifungal and antibacterial, you can apply this tincture, this alcohol, directly on the skin for, again, fungal and bacterial issues. So ringworm, athlete's foot, tinea versicolor, which is a fungal infection that affects a good part of the skin. This is going to be great applied topically to those things. Keep in mind, this is going to turn your skin black, so be careful with that. I recommend putting it on at night and sleeping on a towel or something you don't mind getting stained, right? So for food, you're going to find these same ones that you can squeeze. This is going to be a pretty good indication that the nut is still good inside of here and it hasn't been destroyed too much by moisture or by bugs. And then what you're going to do is you're going to put your boots on and you're going to stomp on all the ones that you collect that seem like they're, good quality. And you're going to separate the husk from the nut itself. I would recommend using the husk for medicine, and that's what I do. Regardless, you're going to take that nut once the husk is off and you're going to dunk all of them in a big bucket of water, and you're going to discard the ones that float. So just like you do with eggs, right? The float test to see which ones are still good. The same thing applies with these nuts. So discard the ones that float. They've probably been eaten up by bugs. And then you're going to keep the ones that have sunk and you're going to either boil them or just scrub them really, really good. There's going to be a whole lot of like residue on the outside of that nut, and you want to get that off because it doesn't taste very good at all. And then you're going to let them cure. So the way that I've done this that's worked really well is to put them like in pretty shallow boxes in a bright sunny spot. So I've seen people do this in the beds of their trucks. You can do this inside, you can do this outside. The warmer it is and the drier it is, the better. And you're going to let these cure for about 2 weeks. And then you're going to take a hammer and you're going to smash them, open them up, and you can eat the nut out of here raw, or you can bake it. Either one works. They're delicious. This is Jugulans nigra. This is the species of this particular tree. It grows all over the United States, so really good one to find. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I want to tell y'all about this. You know, obviously nuts are going to be a great survival food to find because they're a lot higher in protein and fat than a lot of your aerial plants and like your herbaceous plants. So a good one to find. These are going to keep falling until like mid-December in this area, and you'll be able to find them and use them until about then, but I would get on it because I'm looking around and a lot of the ones on the ground here are black and mushy and are not really viable anymore for food or medicine. So y'all check that out, and I will make another video on edible and medicinal plants for y'all really soon.